know, I'm David, and I've spent some 30 years working in commercial and procurement roles across the retail and the healthcare sectors. So I started working as a graduate at Safeway. I then spent 20 years working for Tesco. My last role at Tesco was the Chief Procurement Officer. So I was looking after all of the goods and services, not for resale, that the Tesco Group needed across its 10 markets. And then in the last few years, I've been working for NHS England as their Director of Procurement, where I've been working to support the national COVID response and then setting up the central commercial function. One of my passions all the way through this has been around the sustainability agenda and for the need and the opportunity for buyers and procurement teams to help to influence that change. So 18 years ago, as you say, was a significant moment because at Tesco, the start of a process to remove single-use plastic bags, and you were instrumental in that change with the supply of the what's now famously known as the Ladybird bag, the jute bag that would encourage users away from single-use plastic bags. It's so great to be back. It's so fascinating to come and see your factory again. So much has changed. So much more sophistication. So much more breadth. The network you have created with agencies and designers to create high quality bags, but beyond bags now, accessories and clothing, is incredible. Interestingly, some things have stayed true to their beginning, which was the principles, the values, the ethics by which you founded the organisation. It's a complex piece, and it's changing as you say. So, without oversimplifying, 20 years ago there was a big, and there still is a big concentration on price. But really, then it was around price. I remember sales, profit margin, waste, service level, the key KPIs. Over the years, the quality of the product, the durability of the product, and increasingly the sustainability of that product and the supplier supplying that product. So that's changed, and the buyers need to evolve, and they need to look at how they can evolve their thinking to manage across those multifaceted KPIs.
Yes, because you see what we have today is the whole supply chain has become more and more sophisticated. Products are coming from various parts of the world,
yes.
And even in our industry, there's so many different aspects of it. What we've tried to do is to keep that supply chain within our ethos, which is to have a ethical supply chain, but also a high quality in terms of workmanship, in terms of manufacturing. And you have seen some of our workers who recognized you, who were there 18 years ago, and they looked at you and said, "You are Mr. Ladybird."
Mr. Ladybird, indeed. Your points are really important. The customer is canny. They shop around. They're price conscious, but they also care a lot about where the product has come from and that the product has been made to the right ethical and sustainability standards. So this is a really key point. The concept of a digital product passport is just symptomatic of the fact that the customer wants that. They want to be able to scan and track the product, its heritage. I think buyers and suppliers need to be leading edge in that and thinking about that as they go forward.
And the new generation are looking at a product and looking at the whole traceability and how ethically it has been manufactured. So there are no, the whole thing about social media is such that news is traveling fast. People are sending images of products that they've bought. They are WhatsApping people with all these information about not just the images of the product, but also the details of the product. So it becomes more and more challenging for a buyer to look at all that when he's making a decision.
The opportunity behind this for the big retailers, and I can name Tesco because I spent 20 years at Tesco, made some significant changes, behavioural, influencing positively the behaviour. There's an opportunity to be on the front foot on some of these initiatives. And for the buyers, with an understanding of the supply chains and the suppliers, to take that opportunity for the greater good of the organisation and the planet. I don't think I've been asked that question in 30 years of visiting factories. So I would be asked, what do you think of the product? What do you think of the technical standard? Were you happy with this? Is there anything else we can do? But that sense, and the reason I make that point, of course, the standards and the product is vitally important, but also the fabric and the feeling of the people who the organisation relies on, right, to produce that sense, that compassionate leadership, that compassionate sense across Supreme Creations, and that's what I hold quite true here when I come and visit.
True about businesses, about our factory. We've got, as you've seen, some of the best machines in the world. We've upgraded our machines over the last 17, 18 years. We've got people who've worked for us for 17, 18 years, and that means that they've been trained to that extent.
Yes.
And you met some of them during a walkabout. And so really it's a wonderful feeling for us. We haven't had a single buyer who was there 18 years ago who's come back now, because they've all moved to different businesses. So your being here has been very special for us, and it tells a lot about your ethos.
Is to listen and to be curious, soak in, immerse yourself, be curious, ask questions, think about it, ask the silly questions, because that's where ideas, that's where interactions form. So that would be the first point. Someone once said, who I think you know because he visited here some 16 years ago, he said, as a buyer, you are only as good as your supplier makes you. And that's always really resonated with me, because the more a buyer can spend time and invest to share some of the organisation's priorities, thinkings, what it wants, what it doesn't want, and to share and to spar with a supplier and to create that partnership of trust is really powerful. So that whole thinking around supplier relationship management is so important. But thinking you are, as a buyer, only ever going to be as good as your supply base and the suppliers within it. I think that, and I say this deliberately, because buyers are busier and busier and busier, and everything's becoming more automated. E-tenders, e-sourcing, e-auctions. You can do your job from your desk. Is to lift your head up and be out, and to think about life between contracts. So not to just churn a contract and to do a tender and then to put it in the drawer or file it and to hope it runs okay. So in-life contract management is a really important thing to remember. And I think what I've learned over the recent years when I've taken more leadership roles is this concept of it being there to give and support teams, and to, what is it I can offer as a leader to help has been a really powerful message that I've tried to live.
That was wonderful. Thank you.